Hello, I am Bentham and welcome back to Factorio. So today's mission is to sort out production again, like we do pretty much every episode nowadays. So last time we sorted out copper, but the only reason it was properly sorted out was because iron was running out. So now we need to finish, we need to fix iron and we need to sort out copper. Also, we need to actually supply that train with some coal, because I sort of forgot to do that in the last episodes. It's just been running on whatever's left in the tank, or the furnace, or the whatever. It's full of wood anyway. It's a wood-powered train at the moment, so that needs fixing. So I'm getting some trees out the way, hooking up a big long conveyor belt all the way up to our coal mine, so that I can hook that up and send it all down. And then I decide to write it down after doing a quick check of the power supply. Everything seems to be fine there at the moment. Have a quick look at the furnaces and things, and then carry on following the coal system just so that I can watch it get put into the train. And then the moment I arrive, the train goes, so just like, oh screw it, let's go and do something else. So look, get a bit of random research done. At this point there's not really any interesting research left to do. It's all the logistics system, which is something I haven't started using yet. I mean, I will eventually put the logistics system in this base, I just haven't got round to it. I don't use it as heavily as it really needs. I only really use it to supply myself with things, just to speed up things, and even then I'll stand around and let them supply me rather than go out and actively pick up the stuff, which is not necessarily a good idea really. So I'm wandering off to the outpost, and you can see there's a miner run out there, but then there's a couple more miners run out here just sort of dotted around, so I decide to add a couple more to supplement the current supply, because for whatever reason it's currently not going quite as well as it could do, so obviously we just need to improve iron production, well, the mining of the ore anyway. So I hook all the stuff up, keeping it balanced between each side of the belt as usual, just because that helps generally with keeping things going at full speed. And in the meantime, throughout this episode I just randomly make more bits for my power suit and slowly get it up to full speed. Anyway, I go over to this little, I don't know if you can call it an outpost, because it's just a bunch of miners. Now that we have the big north wall, we don't need to have walls around our things we build. But yeah, I put some more mining drills around, and that should give us a much better supply of iron. Now, I put a splitter thing on there to combine them, and really that was probably not necessary. I mean, I could have just used belts to put them onto the same thing, but what I wanted to do was make sure it was kept even between the two belts, because if I do that on both of the belts feeding in, then when they get split it evenly between those other two belts, they should stay even there, and everything will just generally run better if everything stays on equally on each side of the belt. So we run back up to our train system and check that the coal thing's working, and we still have a bunch of wood in there, so I decided to take it all out eventually and run on back home, let that all fill up nicely, and try and deal with the flow of plates, because as you can see the iron plates are not going well, they're backing up, and there's some furnaces that aren't running, and that's inefficient, so that needs fixing. So I mess about with different systems trying to get it to work, and I set up that and then realised that's made absolutely no difference whatsoever. It's just combined them in the same way. So I mess about a bit more, use up a bit of space, which may even be a problem later when we further expand our iron smelting rates, if we ever do actually. I mean, it's getting to a point where we're using up as much as we could ever want to use up. But yeah, I'm messing about so that things go faster, and then I decide that we're going to need to upgrade that entire belt. So I run off and grab some gears from the main system, make my way back and start putting in all these new bits. The gears are only needed for the underground belt bits, but we do have them in both the things. I have a quick look to make sure that things are actually starting to flow along, and the backlog is reducing. And then I carry on over to here, and then I'm a little bit derpy. I set up the exact same system for splitting it evenly between the belts 2 meters after I've already done that, so that is an entirely pointless construct I put up there and just wasting my time. And there needs to be one nearer to the actual main system, because of course there's a bunch more smelters that all put it on one side, so that needs something doing about it. So anyway, the limitation we currently have with science is that green science is not being produced fast enough, so it's time to do an overhaul of the system. I had a look at it and worked out a way to improve it, basically have it so that it can be extended in future. rather than having it directly next to the main belt switch. It doesn't need to be. It's a little bit further away, in some space that has been cleared by mining out some coal, so I can at least vaguely justify the whole coal mining effort that I did. Actually, it's off to the side. No, it's got nothing to do with the coal. So anyway, hook all those up, and I make the mistake of telling them to produce blue science packs for whatever reason, so I set it all up, and then I wonder why it's not going, and then realise I've been a derp. So I change all that. I keep getting mixed up between blue and green science packs. It's like the episode where we made green science, and I said, next time we're doing green science, and it was blue science, of course. But anyway, that's set up now, so hopefully the more science can be done. I'm just stood here watching it flow down to... and it's getting further and further each time as each science lab fills up, so that looks good. But the thing we have now is that we're running low on advanced circuits a little bit, so I have a go at fixing that. And also it looks like we've managed to mine yet more coal, so I disconnect the system, turn all the miners around, clear that away just to make more room as usual. That is the sort of the point of this whole exercise, and I think I'm halfway through the whole coal deposit now after so many episodes, like probably 10 episodes since I started the whole project, maybe. It's hard to say, you'd have to look back. I've forgotten what happened in one episode now. I just know that stuff is still happening, and yeah, I know what happens now. Anyway, so what I decided to do is make some additions to the module system, because of course we're running out of science to do, and what we're going to need to do is advance to alien science. And what I want to do before we do that is get better productivity modules, because productivity modules mean that we can get more alien science for our alien artifacts, which is quite important, because, you know, it can be a bit hard to come across alien artifacts sometimes. Well, I mean, we can go out and get some, but, you know, it's a bit dangerous and stuff. I mean, I think there's some just sat around next to the coal mine, but of course we need to clear out the worms for that, and there's a lot of them. So anyway, I'm running around looking at our production system, because of course all the changes that I've made should have had an effect now, but what I realise is that the copper could be running quicker if I speed up the corners, so I go and do that. So I put the blue conveyors on the corners, which means that everything stays nicely backed up rather than getting more and more spaced out each time it happens. And what that will hopefully do is just because it was starting to back up and furnaces were turning off, so if I speed up the rate it's flowing, that should theoretically improve things, and I think it does. Actually, yeah, if you look on the side at the moment, it's properly full. I'm not sure if that stays in effect, because of course making changes to systems means that suddenly it flows fast, but then of course you run out of supply at the other end or whatever. Anyway, looking at the circuit production, it's just not enough, because we're increasing green science, which means we need blue science needs to work harder, and red science. Actually, I've just realised looking at it that the red science is actually depleted now after all this time, so that's going to need something doing with it. But anyway, I deconstruct the part of the green science system that I just built, because I've come up with a better way of doing it that will be better. What I do is I just move it up and make more space so that I can have another circuit production system. What that unfortunately means is that I will have to do something about the substation that is there, which is powering half of the main production line. So after having a quick look, I try and work out what to do, come up with a plan. So I make a little bit of room, build a new substation, stick it there, take that substation, pop it down there, and what we end up with is the whole thing powered apart from one strip in the middle, which should easily be fixed by adding in a couple of electric poles, I think. So that's all good. So anyway, I finished building some miners in the bottom bar. The miners were built ages ago in the bottom bar, but I never got around to actually putting them down. Now I have done. So our coal production is insane again, and we'll have to keep a closer eye on the inserters that are harvesting it all. But anyway, we made the room by moving the substation out of the way. We can start to add on this new section. The only thing is that even though we've now increased the capacity for circuit production, we of course need the copper, and suddenly the copper supply has gone crap. So it looks like we're gonna have to, well, check on what's going on over there, because I don't think I've been there since like, I don't know, over an episode ago. So it's been like an hour and a half at this point since I last went there or whatever. But anyway, I got to this outpost and I found out that finally the last mining drill had finished its work. So we're deconstructing the whole thing. It's going to be as if it was never here. I don't know why that's really necessary. I could have just left it all derelict, but that's rubbish, so I got rid of it. And now it's gone forever. So I had a look at that outpost there, everything's fine there. But if you look here, you see that there's 2 mining drills run out there. And then there's another 5 run out here. So of course that's where the problem is. The reason that suddenly the copper has run down and isn't supplying everything enough is because suddenly all the mining drills have stopped. So I'll make a little tweak to the conveyor belts, and what that means is that there's an even amount on either side of the belt, as always, because this is still a very high production rate in this space, and we still need to make efficient use of our belts. Have a quick look around at things in general. You can see that the stations for the new train, the one near my base is called Nomenclate, I think, or no, or whatever. And then the one at the copper outpost is called Mind, which is weird, but whatever, it sounds pretty cool. So we're running around and doing a bit of stuff with random supplies, just sort of resupplying myself as usual, grabbing some circuits and things. And what I decided to do is get some more solar panels, because I had a quick look at the power and it looked like we the charging time for the accumulators was getting enough that it was like nearly the sun was nearly starting to set when it finally finished. So I decided to add in some more solar panels, so I started setting those up and then craft some more, work out how many I need. And as you can see, we can't expand upwards anymore, so I'm gonna have to start expanding sideways, and eventually that whole section is gonna be filled up. We're gonna have to like set up a new solar farm somewhere else, so that we can keep space for the future. I'll have a quick look at the copper mines, and everything looks to be good there at the moment. Not the copper mines, the copper furnaces, everything was running nicely, but actually looking at it now, zoomed out, you can see that there were quite a few that were off. So what I do is hop onto the train and decide to go and upgrade the new copper outpost we've got, because of course the whole point of it was to supplement the thing we already had. And what I immediately realised is that the loading bay was wrong. I had to sidestep it a bit to make space, because one of the chests was just filling up with copper and it wasn't being put into the train because the train was at the wrong position. So I have an inventory full of copper and I dumped that all in the chest, so that means that immediately we're going to have a really good supply at the other end for a while. So while the train ferries all that back, which, well, it's going to be ferrying it back for a long time, but while it's doing its first ferrying journey, I build a bunch more mining drills. I built 7, which is how many were no longer active in the main outpost, so that should hopefully fix everything. So I've put a bunch of effectivity modules back in. The train happens to be there, so take it along. You see, it took some damage there, and I was really confused as to where this damage had come from. I just fixed it and got on with my day. But I looked back at the footage, looked at it frame by frame, and what actually happened was one of the big worms that is right next to that copper outpost saw me as the train was swinging around the corner, fired, and then it took half of the train's journey for the shot to actually catch up, which was pretty cool. We were sort of outrunning it for a good while. But anyway, that's what happened. A worm actually shot me. So that's something to watch out for, I suppose, and I do need to deal with those worms at some point, because they are really near the base, like seriously. Now, I don't think I've properly shown you, but they are right next to it. Anyway, it looks like our smart inserter production is crap, because they've depleted entirely, and the problem is circuits. It's always circuits. Even though we have all 3 of these going, actually we don't have them all going at the time, going at once, because the supply isn't that good yet, but I hadn't noticed that, so whatever. So I decided to build more stuff. I'm sort of wandering around, not doing much at the moment. I don't know what was going through my head at that point, but anyway, run off, get some new modules, because I need the speed modules to build some new level 3 assemblers, so I'll get on with that. You can sort of see I'm doing random science there. I just don't care about what science I'm doing at this point. We're now doing laser turret damage. Now I was about to upgrade the green science production to 4 factories until I realised that I'd actually made a mistake with that, and the 3rd one wasn't being supplied because there were inserters on both sides of the line instead of only one after I did the switch around earlier. So we might not need the 4 there, but we would definitely need at least 3. So anyway, you can see I've set up a new circuit production, and hopefully that will keep the smart inserter thing properly supplied rather than almost. You can see the consumption is insane. It uses 4 for every single smart inserter, which is horrible. So you really need a lot of production to keep that system going, especially when you're trying to feed 10 science labs with like lab efficiency fully upgraded. I think you can upgrade it once more with alien science though. So anyway, we're coming to the end now. Next time we'll probably work on modules, I think, and maybe we'll finally have the suit done. But anyway, until then I shall say goodbye, thank you for watching, and I shall see you next time.